This is Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Telecom Reseller. And today I'm with Rob McDougall, who's the president and CEO of Upstream Works. Rob, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Doug. Pleased to be here.
So first of all, what is Upstream Works?
Well, Upstream Works is a contact center company. We've been providing customer care solutions for actually 20 years this April. We provide omni-channel contact center software, supports flexible, innovative customer service solutions across really any industry worldwide. Back in 2006, we developed and delivered the first true omni-channel solution, if you will, long before the term omni-channel was coined, actually. And that's really evolved today into a flexible customer engagement platform. It's designed to improve the agent customer experience for voice and digital channels, but it really helps or works at integrating with the company's new and existing technology investments. You don't want to throw at everything you've got. And that allows companies to drive operational change and ultimately increase customer satisfaction.
So today's topic on our podcast is the digital workforce transformation in the contact center. And Rob, I'm wondering if you can comment on digital workforce transformation and its impact on the customer experience.
We know that customer expectations are continuing to rise, right? We know that people want a continuous, connected customer experience no matter what channel they're coming in on. They want a knowledgeable expert. They want good advice. They want information from agents. And they want to write the first time. So first contact resolution. And we know the contact center actually plays a disproportionate role in providing that customer experience. So organizations need to differentiate themselves by increasing customer satisfaction and loyalty, but they also have to improve operational efficiency and business outcomes, right? Because it's all about money still. So that means the tools you provide to your contact center agents as part of this digital workforce transformation, they have to serve both purposes. They have to improve the customer experience, but they also have to make the agents more effective and more successful at the same time.
So the follow-on question is then, what tools must organizations consider in order to transform customer care while optimizing operational efficiencies?
Well, the movement towards self-service continues, but done wrong, it's really costly, and it's a strong driver of customer dissatisfaction. So it's important to get it done right the first time. Part of helping doing it right the first time, in my opinion, is ensuring that customers continue to have a clear path to an expert agent who can deal with anything that's non-standard, right? That means that the role of the agent in the contact center is going to continue to evolve and change. It's going to require even more expertise. And honestly, that's going to be problematic without technology enablement in terms of desktop tools and processes and knowledge. So with a dedicated single agent desktop, that means you can provide user-friendly tools that empower agents to give a great experience. You can empower agents to do the right thing because the right thing is the easy thing. And a desktop also empowers agents and then streamlines workflows to get better customer outcomes and better business outcomes. If you stay with a dedicated desktop, tools like knowledge management, collaboration become easier to digest, and they can provide value across every business application that you're using, across every channel, so that agents can continue to provide answers that are fast and without unnecessary transfers to other people outside the contact center, subject matter experts.
So what sort of obstacles are companies facing when going through digital transformation?
Really, knowing where to start, I think. There's a lot of factors to consider. There's different departments, different business objectives, a mix of technologies that need to leverage existing tools. You have to have the flexibility and the foresight to plan for the next big thing, whatever that is. And then, exacerbating that situation is the inability, to measure anything very well. Contact centers have reports on call activity. They probably have reports on email and chat, but very few can actually report on the entire omni-channel contact center experience or, all the interactions across the enterprise. nor can they correlate customer side metrics. Like first contact resolution is a customer side metric, but there's a business side metric, which is a agent solve rate, which is the same number sliced a different way. Without real-time information, data, and insights on how you're currently serving customers on the entire journey and from both sides of the fence, it's really hard to know what things to improve. The siloed structure that so many organizations have evolved to, there's lots of data, but the derivation of information gets really complicated. So I think it's critical to find a strategy that identifies what needs to be done, and that doesn't require abandoning what works. So you really need to incorporate and leverage the elements of what you've got, specifically the historical investments you've made. You don't want to get rid of those, but you need to utilize those.
So as we look back, let's look a little forward. And in that vein, which emerging technologies should businesses be taking a serious look at in terms of incorporating them into their CX strategy?
Well, on the customer side facing, you've got AI and bots, and they're moving beyond the hype, I think, and actually being adopted in order to support this movement towards self-service. On the agent side, it's not an emerging technology, but it's definitely in demand, which is a dedicated omni-channel agent workspace that allows an agent to deal with all of these different channels and applications and information at the desktop. From the business side, management tools and analytics. These are the things that are dominating as the volume of data increases, and the volume of data is increasing a lot. The need for consistency is increasing because the reporting and the analytics, they have to make sense of what's going on in the business and in the contact center.
How does the UpstreamWorks solution benefit agents specifically?
We have a philosophy of making the right thing to do the easy thing to do. Okay, we work at eliminating mouse clicks, getting rid of the little speed bumps that inhibit or get in the way of the agent doing their job. What we learned from the 20 years in the space is that what works for a knowledge worker probably doesn't translate that well to a contact center, because the agent has to do the same thing 60 times a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, right? There's a lot of repetition. And the agent desktop that we provide has a lot of the features that contact centers need. It's easy for an agent to learn and to use. And we give them access to all of the channels of voice and digital, all in one place. A consistent interface, so there's less training, onboarding is faster. We look at where were the pieces that were missing. So we look at giving productivity tools that agents need at their fingertips to give them knowledge, the ability to collaborate with their coworkers as supervisors or subject matter experts. And then one of the cool things we do is provide visibility to the full customer journey, including interaction history, interaction activity, and the context. And that includes the conversation transcripts, recordings. And I got to say, I think this is a game changer in terms of providing great customer service and giving customers that white glove treatment, because it shows the customer that the agent knows what's going on with them specifically. It knows they've called about the same thing 5 times in a row or emailed them, right? And then to leverage everything else that you've already got in the contact center, all those other business systems, you got these one-click integrations to all the information that the agent's going to need, delivered contextually, independently of whether or not they need to use Salesforce or Dynamics or another CRM or a legacy system or a database, right? Instead of them having to know, which of the 6 or more or 10 or more or 30 or more business systems do I need to use, contextually you can get to the right one, a couple of clicks away, regardless of when the customer's coming in and the channel that they're using.
I must say that part about the white glove treatment is so important. It's so nice when an agent knows about your situation and knows why you've called, or the frustrations, anticipates at least some of the situations you're experiencing. And speaking of that, about the agents, what about their supervisors and also the management?
Well, the same desktop supports both. So the supervisors have sort of a superset of what the agent has with appropriate permissions. I used to go to conferences and talk to people about management tools, right? Everyone has a really good handle on voice contacts, not so much on their digital contacts. Nowadays, digital management has gotten a lot better, but it's still usually a siloed type approach. There's different tools that are being used to manage different channels. And with our approach, and I think, being in the omni-channel space for a long time, this is a key to a true omni-channel solution. You need one set of management tools that you can use to manage across the spectrum, right? You need consistency in reporting of SLAs. And because we provide that, and because, as you've got flexibility when new channels are added, the management tools and reporting simply inherit for the new channel, right? So you still maintain consistency as you grow the contact center. And that's actually another area that often fails when a contact center is growing, because they add a new channel and boom, there's a new silo. And the management tools, even though you've repaired it, they start to break down again. And with Upstream Works, because you can add these new channels in easily and inherit across all the management tools, we fix that. And so the benefit to management is that they have knowledge and insights to take action that is apples to apples to apples across audio, video, digital, right? So the data and information they have that's available in the reporting or in around their processes and workflows becomes measurable and quantifiable around the customer experience. And that customer experience is consistent, and what you're measuring and how you're measuring that experience is consistent as well.
So can you share an actual client story?
Well, we have a lot of clients in the healthcare space, but one in particular looked at the flexibility of what we provide, right? They evaluated us directly against one of the other high-end players in the industry. We were chosen because we provided an integrated voice-only solution for their contact center. Okay, so they liked the flexibility, but they bought it for voice. But there were two main things they looked at. First was the ability to integrate cost-effectively into multiple lines of business and different multiple legacy and CRM systems, right? So that flexibility allowed them to get rid of all those desktop silos and pull things together. The real value they saw, though, was beyond that. When they start adding new digital channels, there's very little risk or expense. So they're looking at implementing digital channels for customers. Then they've got the ability to measure and manage those channels consistently across the board. And so with the system today, the agents are performing better. They've got increased visibility. They can see all those interactions. They've got the desktop tools. And the team is actually motivated because it's a cool desktop. So they're motivated to give just a better customer experience.
So now what's on the horizon for customer and agent engagement?
Well, I think there's going to be an ebb and a flow around digital communication channels. There's some stopping and starting, and I think companies still find digital engagement difficult to measure and predict, and that's going to restrict investment in the area. Email, I think, is a clear business case for email, but even channels as pervasive as web chat don't have huge customer adoption. Voice is still the 800-pound gorilla in the industry. The companies that do voice well and can easily and economically expand into digital channels without committing a ton of resources, I think are going to end up in the lead. Investing in Facebook or SMS channels or WhatsApp, it's still a gamble for a lot of companies, right? They don't know. And until people start to measure the return on the channel, it'll remain an RFP checkmark or phase 2 for a lot of cost-driven contact centers. The key, I think, is make it economical to try. That's going to drive up adoption because solutions are simpler and easier to set up and turn off if they want or ramp up. The digital transformation into, I'll say, a more vanilla unified communication is going to continue for a while. I think my contrarian view is that the contact center is not going to be replaced by the democratized organizational customer response function, where I can just get that subject matter expert whenever I need them. I think contact centers still have service levels. They need to supply consistent answers. They got to be predictable with volumes, and that means scheduled subject matter experts, and that means they have to be available when they're needed on a schedule, and that just means they're in a contact center. I also think more predictive customer care is going to grow as companies use data to help understand those unspoken customer needs with the tools to act on that information. To get from A to B, I think there's still going to be an evolution. It's important to start with the end in mind, but if you're building a solid foundation, you want to make sure you can, meet today's experience challenges, but make sure you have the flexibility to anticipate tomorrow's challenges, and we're not really sure what those are yet, if you follow.
I think that's a great note for us to end on, the idea that you should start with the end in mind. Otherwise, I think this is pretty tricky. So thank you, Rob, for joining us today and sharing your insights on the digital workforce transformation going on in the contact center. Where can we learn more about Upstream Works?
If you want to visit www.upstreamworks.com, you can see our solutions in action, and you can actually request a personalized demo.
That's great. Well, we look forward to doing more of these podcasts with you, but for now, thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.